Hello, welcome. We have with us a really special guest. Now, there's one thing which all of you would have done at some point or the other in your life. It would have been to search for something on the internet. And if you've done that, you would have Googled it. So therefore, Google search, one of the defining themes or phrases of our lifetime. And with us, the person who's actually been driving that for 18 or 19 years right now, Ben Gomes, it's a pleasure to have you with us. You lead the search team at Google, which means Google, when you say Google, you first think search before you think anything else. So it's a real pleasure and privilege to have you with us. And not many people, I think, are fully aware of the fact that the search team in Google is actually led by somebody who originates in India, which is always a pleasant thing to find out. So what brings you back to India? And it's great to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's so exciting to be back in India at this time where India is growing in such a wonderful and amazing way. I left India 30 years ago, and every time I come back, the change is amazing to see. I joined Google. I came this time for the sake of for Google for India for the event, because we are really focusing on India now, because it's a tremendous growth we are seeing here, but also it is really core to our mission to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable. And universally acceptable really means accessible to everybody.
Yeah. So therefore, getting people all across India to be able to access that information and access it easily becomes a core part of the Google challenge and the Google mission. But let me just talk to you about search a little bit. It's really fascinating to be sitting with the person who started to work at it right almost from the very beginning. How has that journey really moved? And there used to be those little blue 10 search, those 10 search lines. Now, of course, search itself is migrating. You're getting almost integrated search where videos popping up and, images are popping up and all sorts of things are coming up.
Yeah, when I joined Google, search was, 10 blue links. And even that was a huge step about what had come before, where you had to go to a library to find information. And now you could find information, by going to a computer and typing in a few words. And the first time I realized that this was going to touch a lot of people was actually on a bus going from Bombay to Pune, where even on that bus, several people had used Google in 2001. This was a long time ago when I did not think Google was that widely known, but was being used across the world. And as time has gone on, and especially with the advent of mobile phones, this has become the computer, and this enables people to reach information wherever they may be and whoever they may be, because these are becoming accessible to everybody. And so that creates its own set of both challenges and expectations and opportunities. And we've been looking at that whole spectrum of things for a while now and begun to put even more emphasis on it. So one of the first things we began to see when people had a phone is that they expected to have more of a conversation with the phone. They didn't just want 10 blue links, they wanted answers to their questions. So if you ask a question like, who's the prime minister, you kind of want an answer to that, not just a link to it. If I ask a question like, a mathematical question like that, or ask a sum like 23 plus 47, I want the answer to that, not just web pages that contain those numbers. Or if I ask for an address, I want a map. So we realized, first of all, that we needed to bring all those things together. And we created a universal search a while back, and that brings a lot of these things together.
So Google search originated by saying, I want to search for something, and it would take people to the web page, which would actually have the answer to that.
Right.
But Google search now is just becoming, I need to get a piece of information, get me the piece of information, and I pretty much don't care how you're doing it. Also means you're getting into more and more areas. You say flight Delhi to Bangalore, you'll suddenly get a listing of all flights, which used to be a website by itself a few years ago.
We work with various people across the web in order to create these experiences in many cases, and in some cases we provide the answer. For instance, if there's like I said, a calculation you want to do or a map or an address you want to go to, we have to provide the map because that's what people's expectation is. Now behind this we have to build a whole bunch of technology. We built something which we call the knowledge graph, which today consists of a billion people, places and things. So the question I asked earlier, like who's the prime minister? To answer that, we needed to understand things in the world, not just the words you typed, but they actually represent things in the world. So India is a place, India has a prime minister, there is a current prime minister, he is related to various other people. We needed to understand all of those entities and how they're connected. And then we could begin to give you an answer to your question. So today we have 1 billion people, places, and things in that knowledge graph, and we think of it kind of like a scaffolding of information. Using the knowledge graph, we can begin to organize the information in a way that you can consume more easily.
One of the things, of course, is an entire industry around, and I'm sure Google's aware of it, is how do you get, if everyone is using Google to search for information, if you want your page to be higher, you should be doing search engine optimization. It's an entire industry of people which is designed to basically figure out how do we get the Google algorithm to push us higher up the list. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or do you try and figure out how to beat that? Do you want the right information to be there and not just somebody doing SEO slightly better than someone else?
So we are building search for the user, and the way we do that is by evaluating our search results whenever we make a change using raters. We do a double-blind test. And the raters actually determine whether this algorithm is better than the previous algorithm. And the raters are the human beings, so they are looking at various factors about the page. So the best way to get a good result on Google, to be higher on the Google results, is to create a good experience for your users. Our goal is then to showcase and make prominent the best experiences that are available. So I think for people who want to make their websites appear higher on the Google search results, first think about your user. Make your website fast. It's really important for every user that your website is fast. We have seen for our website, which is really quite fast, improvements in our usage if we make it faster. Make your website be mobile friendly. Make sure that the navigation of the website really works. All of these factors, in some ways, they are simple factors to do, but many websites neglect them. And those are the things that will make your website good for your users, and then will correspond to signals that will make it rank well in Google. If you try, people do try and game the algorithm, and we stay one step ahead of that. We're constantly...
So you are trying to beat the guys doing SEO optimization.
So SEO can mean a lot of different things. If
it could be good SEO, it could be bad
if it's
SEO.
trying to actually help the website be a better website, that's a good thing. If it's trying to just game the algorithm, that's a bad thing.
Right. Are you okay with the fact that the Google search is, as I'm saying, it's almost becoming a mini internet by itself? Because once you've typed in that search, you can get a lot of things out there. You're getting video out there, you're getting maps out there, you're getting images out there. You're getting a lot of details which you would otherwise not have got, cricket scores out there. So in a sense, it's almost crowding out what a lot of other websites would do entirely on their own. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't see it quite that way. For instance, when you get images, they are from websites, and you go to those websites to get more information. If you get videos, they're from websites. You go to those websites to get more information. So it's not us providing much of the information. It is the open web. We really believe in the open web and want it to be really rich and do well. And we pay a lot of attention to that. Okay. For instance, even the speed and mobile friendly, we've had big initiatives and pushes where we try and help webmasters make their sites be better. Because we believe if they succeed, we succeed.
So one of the most important factors of search and being able to get information is, in a sense, is one of the major steps towards a far more equal and a more democratic world. If you consider it, we used to talk about the knowledge economy and how people who have access to high quality knowledge or information will dominate the world. To one extent, the fact that it's available on anybody's handset, and handsets themselves are now becoming ubiquitous. 400 million people, 500 million people walking around with handsets, all of them can use Google search or something else to get information. That must be a good thing for humanity in general, isn't it?
I think that is one of the things that really motivates me and the team, is the fact that we are able to make the same kind and level of information available to the kid with that who may not have any other resource, but who has access to the internet, as available to the richest person in the world, the Queen of England, whoever you think of as having tremendous information. They still use the same service. So everybody has access to the same information. Now, we'd also like to take it a step further, because people who live in, who speak a language that is not widely spoken, don't have as much content in that language. So we'd like to do things like translate content from English and other languages into these other languages. So we'd like to use Google Translate, which has made tremendous progress and is available in, I think, 9 or 10 Indian languages, to actually bring that content to people who otherwise would not have access to any content like that.